been missing is a company-wide culture creation and how to get. So that is what I want to share with you today. I would like to hear from just a couple people. What is your definition of organizational culture? Be brave. The way people behave. Very good. Think of your best people. So think of someone you work with, and they might even be in the room, that is really great. They're great at their job. They're great to be with. It might be your boss. It might be your coworker. It might be your friend. Any of those people. Think of who that is. And those, if you could build a business, you could clone that person and build a business, a whole organization around that person, right? So think of that name. You can say the name. But I want to hear, what do they do? What do you observe them doing that makes them so great? I'd like to hear from a couple people. Yeah. They think about others. Okay, good. So they have like this team. They have team atmosphere around them. I assert there is a culture. There's a big culture. There are smaller cultures. In each one of those, where would you say the culture comes from? A leader? Okay. Where else? From the group? Yeah? Yeah. Where else? Showing a vision. Okay. Did you? From the learned behavior? Okay. Well, I would say to a degree, those are all included in what I call the strongest personality. So, on Wednesday nights, I go play trivia at a drinking establishment from time to time. And I'm kind of unofficially in this group, and we've never won, but our leader is this brilliant lawyer, and he really believes that he's brilliant, you know, and he's really funny, he's kind of sarcastic and cynical, and we're always poking fun at each other. Oh, that's a dumb answer, but we'll go with it anyway, or, you know, so we have a lot of fun, and I notice, and we'll just call him Steve. So we all have a Steve in our lives. And the thing is, Steve is the strongest personality. And we all have fun, but the culture that Steve provides in our group isn't necessarily the culture we are or that we would bring. But he is the strong personality that kind of creates, and we all gravitate and become that. And then when I leave, go home, I'm not that Steve culture anymore. So by default, we have a Steve culture. Make sense? Can you kind of picture that? Right. And if you have a leader who is a great, powerful, charismatic, caring about others, profitable, everywhere at one time, all the time, kind of person, then you're probably going to have a great culture in your organization. If you see this in sales a lot. So if Johnny is really good at sales, he leads, he breaks a record every quarter, he's amazing. Seems like the company couldn't exist without him. But he's got dead bodies all around him. Nobody can work with him. Every time you interact with him, it's just carnage. He eats people up and he spits them out. But he can sell. Does anybody have a Johnny in their company? Yeah. Now, after coaching, maybe even after a second chance, maybe even after a second chance, we got to get rid of these people. What kind of message are we sending to the rest of the organization, to our community, about how serious we are about culture if we're keeping Johnny there, who's clearly not a cultural fit? So yeah, from back in the old days, it was top down, do what you say. If you don't like it, get out of here. Now, and somehow that created a lot of loyalty. Like my dad worked at IBM 35 years. Hated every day of it. Was scared of getting fired every day. It's terrible for him, you know, but there weren't a lot of options, and that generation didn't really draw that line in the sand like millennials are doing. So I happen to be on your side. So everyone at Momentum has a way card. And what this way card has is 26 of our behaviors. Now, We don't call them behaviors, we actually call them fundamentals because they're fundamental to our success. Okay? Now 26 may seem like a lot. We don't memorize them. I know what number 1 is because I do this talk a lot, but I don't know the rest. Okay, number 1's act with integrity. But I haven't memorized them, but we practice them, and I'm going to show you about that in just a little bit. But if you want people to do something the way you want them to do it, if you want them to behave and practice those behaviors, you actually have to articulate it and write it down. I mean, that makes sense, right? Yes? Okay. So we created the way card, and what is next? Okay, so any questions about behaviors? Any debate like values are better than behaviors, or, you know? Okay, so I'm going to go deeper dive into rituals right now, but the simple thing about the behaviors is that it's a game changer to write them down and to actually have them in the form of behaviors because they can be observed. There's not a lot of interpretation in follow up. There's not a lot of interpretation in do what you say you're going to do. Rituals. Practices have become ingrained as automatic behaviors over time. Another word for that would be a habit, right? So, who likes to, one of my rituals on like Sunday evening is I get on my calendar and I kind of plan my week. You do that, see what appointments are coming up and all that. Just us two, I guess. So, it's a ritual of mine because it kind of just makes me feel like, okay, I know what's coming up. I know which nights I can party, right? But I want to just have a handle on anything I need to do to prepare. Now, if I know more of you do that, as you do that, do you put in your calendar, set maybe an alarm, really focus and say, okay, this week I'm serious. Every day, I'm going to brush my teeth. Do you do that?
New Year resolution.
You use what?
New Year resolution.
Use a ritual. We don't have to do that, right? It's an automatic behavior. It's a habit. That's what we're talking about. Even kids do it after threats and encouragement, right? Another fun ritual in this country, fun to talk about. What do we do before like a pro football game or pro baseball game? Bet? All right. You got me. After you make that wager, and after the tailgating, right before the game starts, what do we do?
Party.
National anthem. National anthem. I do like the crowd at 9 o'clock.
You know us HR people.
I like it. So after all that, we're going to sing the national anthem. We're going to stand or take a knee. I don't know. We're not going to get into that. But it's a ritual, and it's an automatic thing, and it would be weird if we didn't do it. In fact, maybe some of you saw this a few years ago. There was a hockey game, pro hockey game, and the guy comes out on the ice with his guitar, and there's a mic there, and the mic didn't work. Did you see this? Anybody? And so he just starts raising his hands, and people start singing the Star Spangled Banner because it's a ritual. Everyone knows what he's going to do. It's not like, what's this song list? You know that's going to happen, right? And so they sang Star Spangled Banner. The really cool thing about it, this was in Canada. So that's the power of a ritual.